In this video we are going to talk about top 10 best places to eat in the world. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. The annual list of the world's 50 best restaurants is read by upscale diners, restaurateurs, and food writers. I belong to the last group, in search of trends or, at the very least, a unifying theme. The 100 restaurants on the full list range from Alain Ducasse's Louis XIV in Monaco to David Chang's Momofuku Sam Bar, which is decidedly unpretentious and unsedate. Despite this, the top positions have lately tended to go to eateries that embrace innovation while maintaining at least a modicum of luxury, although not always formal. None of them are cheap. The top 10 items on the 50 best list for this year are shown here in brief. Most of the descriptions are based on my personal experience, but for the restaurants I haven't been to, research and the reports of colleagues have filled in the details. Number 10. The Ledbury, in London, England. A two-person meal would cost $270 without wine. The Ledbury is likely the most traditional restaurant among the top 10, which means that Brett Graham, the restaurant's Australian-born chef, prioritizes enjoyment over skill. Although the dishes at this London restaurant may not be as visually appealing as those at other establishments, their flavors are rich and complex. A buffalo milk curd, for instance, that is spread creamy onto toast that has been topped with Iberico ham and served with a rich onion broth. Or grilled mackerel with shiso and cured avocado to brighten the oily brine. This is the best place in London to try game because the chef here personally hunts his own wild birds. Number 9. Elenia in Chicago, Illinois. Cost of a supper for two, sans wine, $420. After a brief stint at Ferran Adrià S. El Bulli, Granta Katz went on to reinvent what was once the world's most avant-garde restaurant. The 18 or so part tasting menu features dishes with names like scallop acting like agedashi tofu, and the crockery, some of it gorgeous and some of it like items from the Spanish Inquisition's spike and pincer collection, is specially designed for each course. In this Chicago restaurant, meals are more like carefully staged experiences than actual meals. For one course, diners must fold their own ravioli from a sheet of tomato pasta that, just moments earlier, appeared to be a decorative flag, and for the final dessert, a chef paints, drizzles, and scatters a mixture of dark chocolate and about 100 other ingredients right on the table. Number 8. Arzak. San Sebastian, Spain. $530 for a two-person meal without wine. One of the greatest minds in Spanish cuisine, Juan Mari Arzak, was among the first to utilize contemporary methods and flavors to enhance regional food, in this case, the cuisine of his own Basque country. Elena, his daughter, now manages the kitchen of his restaurant, which is set in a charming-looking building but is shockingly slick inside. She keeps up the Basque-influenced inventiveness with dishes like monkfish cooked in an edible green papier-mâché balloon or waves. They're made using molds of local spider crab and anise that manage to feel both fanciful and grounded in the region. Number 7. Dom Sao Paulo, Brazil. Dinner for two, without wine, would cost $400. It is rather surprising that Chef Alex Atala's restaurant is so upscale given the media's penchant for showing him standing thigh-deep in his beloved Amazon, baring his chest, and draped with a huge fish like some sort of modern-day Tarzan. However, the delicate quality of specialties like pappardelle produced from palm hearts or ceviche prepared with indigenous spices hides the potency of their distinctive flavors, allowing Brazilians to appreciate the wealth of their home country's terroir. Even the lemongrass-scented Amazonian ants he serves, which are delicately set over a pineapple cube, are exquisite. Number 6. Nugaritz, in Errenteria, Spain. The cost of a two-person lunch without wine is $470. Andoni, the Aristotle of modern gastronomy, Luis Adjariz is a philosopher king hidden away in the Basque country's undulating hills, around 20 minutes' drive from San Sebastian. He consistently manages to surprise and delight his customers while maintaining a deep, almost pantheistic reverence for the natural world around him. This is demonstrated by cerebral, technically accomplished dishes like the Bloody Mary tomato, which looks and feels like a fresh tomato but tastes like the cocktail, or his famous potato stones. Number 5. Dinner in London, England. A two-person supper would cost $230 sans wine. Heston Blumenthal used his interest in the development of English cuisine to create something unexpectedly fascinating for the rest of us. Is the chic dinner, run by Chef Ashley Palmer Watts at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in London, really the best restaurant in the country? There, classic, if oddly named, dishes like salamugandi and meat fruit are transformed into modern marvels, the latter of which is a light but rich chicken liver parfait made to look exactly like a mandarin orange. Most likely not. But compared to other history classes, this one is quite simple to understand. Number 4. 14 Madison Park, New York, USA. A two-person supper would cost $450 sans wine. Chef Daniel Hum, a Swiss native, transforms this quiet yet theatrical dining space into the archetypal New York restaurant by incorporating French savoir-faire and the farm-to-table movement. In fact, the sense of place in this dish derives from Hum's knowing allusion to New York's culinary tradition as well as the locally grown and produced components. For instance, pristine carrots are transformed into a light-hearted version of steak tartare, and sturgeon is served with the restaurant's take on an everything bagel. Both of these dishes are brought to the table under smoke-filled cloches. The feeling of absolute well-being is enhanced by the excellent service, which is elegant, sensitive, and contemporary. Number 3. Osteria Francescana in Modena, Italy. Dinner for two without wine costs between $360 and $525. Massimo Bottura, the most emotional chef in the world, creates culinary journeys through memory and dream under a regal facade. The abstract modern paintings on the wall serve as the first indication that this is not your typical upmarket Italian restaurant, but the artwork also appears on the food. Every Italian child's childhood memory of a mortadella sandwich is transformed into an impossible-to-eat mousse, and a Magnum ice cream bar is transformed into a chic, foie gras stuffed bite. Additionally, just with his magnificent lacquered eel, which Bottura serves with saba and polenta to symbolize the apples and maize the eel would come across on its voyage up the adjacent Po River, the tales that go along with his meals only serve to enhance their evocative qualities. Number 2. Cellar de Can Roca in Girona, Spain. Price of a two-person supper without wine, $3.90 or $4.80. Three brothers who learned their trade honestly from their parents run Cellar de Can Roca, head chef Joan, sommelier Josep, and pastry chef Jordi. But it's difficult to think of something that is more different from your typical mom and pop fare. A Roca meal dazzles with its wizardry, a starter called Eat the World that encapsulates the tastes of the 5 different cuisines in 5 distinct bites, a dessert called Messi's Goal that recreates the feeling of when Barcelona's soccer hero Lionel Messi scores with a candied pitch, flying white chocolate balls, and a plateside iPod playing the roars of the crowd, while remaining firmly rooted in tradition. Lucky visitors are given a tour of Josep's cellar, where special wines have been given multi-sensory treatments. Number 1. Noma, Copenhagen, Denmark. A two-person supper sans wine would cost $600. Noma is humming along these days after losing the top spot in 2013, it had held that position for the 3 years prior. The restaurant, which is housed in a former whaling warehouse, is where new Nordic cuisine, which only uses local ingredients, first emerged. However, the restaurant has since moved far beyond its early days of foraged reindeer lichen and sea buckthorn. These days, the beginning of dinner may consist of a full kohlrabi that has been stuffed with its fermented juice and served with a straw so that it resembles and tastes like a coconut drink. Abelskivers, a classic Danish type of fritter, may be served next. They may be coated with a sauce made from fermented grasshopper, and the dinner may conclude with a potato, almond, and plum puree for dessert. Although it seems absurd, Redzepi and his team have found a way to make it all delicious. Noma continues to provide what is arguably the most engaged and engaging service in the world, in addition to being extremely delightful. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.